Let's talk about WrestleMania then. So the highest income generating WrestleMania ever by an enormous margin with ridiculously high ticket prices, most attended, taking into account both days together. Merchandise sales improved 20% over last year, the most watched WrestleMania I think we believe ever, and one of the finest endings to a WrestleMania ever as well. This weekend can only be described as an unmitigated success for WWE, and especially with NXT and the post-WrestleMania Raw, they also drew the biggest gates in their respective histories as well. Now, I tried to get you to watch all of WrestleMania, and we both looked at each other and went, yeah, that's not going to happen. But I've watched most. You've watched the majority, I think, and there were 3 matches that you have written. Oh, I tell you, you saved my life because you sent me some detailed notes of those matches as well. I was so pleased you did, because I fell asleep twice during that Jimmy versus Jey Uso match, and I tried my best to watch it. But there were 3 matches you want to talk about, and the first one is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes.
Well, textbook match. See, they went into that match. They had the work and the story do the work for them. They went in there. The more story you have, the less work you really got to do. I mean, they had them just because the fans aren't up screaming from the beginning. It's not how it starts, it's how it ends. And this was an example of WWE booking 20 years ago. Because that finish, they would run this guy in, and somebody else would come in, and somebody else would come in, and somebody else would come in to the final. And that's the way they did this. And the people loved that. And it was spaced out too. It wasn't boom, 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 boom. It was guy going, he'd stay a minute, and here'd come the other guy. He'd stay like a minute or maybe a little less. But it all made sense. And I wrote a tweet and put it on X. And I says, it was textbook. It's what it was. Oh, they could have been if we want to nitpick it, we can nitpick this or that. But it was a textbook finish. But what I judge that on is the people were happy. They had went through this for 2 years, and they was talk, well, he should do this and take it a third year. Well, it wouldn't make it a third year. I think the people, after they got so mad last year over Cody losing, even though he got beat, I mean, they were looking at like, well, hell, you guys put this together, make us happy a little bit. We bought a ticket. And I'm pretty sure they didn't have any inclinations of keeping Roman the champion after this, because I think everything has been coordinated that Roman will be leaving for a while. And The Rock said he was leaving for a while. Mm-hmm. So we might see a completely different Raw, but we know that The Rock is coming back. And we know that sometimes Roman Reigns will come back. And when he comes back, it'll be a huge, huge angle when he comes back. So they have laid that out there. They haven't told us this. They haven't told the fans that. But in the back of their minds, they know that's out there. So when are they coming? How are they coming? So they got to look forward to that. It was a really, really great pay-per-view. And I was talking about my tweet I put up. I said, booking is like, you don't book higher than a 10-year-old level so that he can understand it. And then if they understand it, everybody understands it. So, but I think they have tried to, in the past, put too much into things or move it too fast. This has been a slow build, a 2-year slow build. And I've said before, I think Cody getting hurt actually helped him because they gave him more time to think about him. And it gave him more time that he wasn't involved in the regime change. And I don't think anybody really got hurt by that, but I think it really helped Cody because he was sitting out there, he was doing his stuff, and he got hurt in such a way with that bad bruise. People remember that. Also, they set a record with Cody Rhodes doing over $1 million in merchandise just for him.
Did they really?
Over $1 million. It set a record.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I set a record too. I was in Pine Grove, Arkansas one time, and I did like $75. That was a record for the town, by the way. I just wanted to say, you don't look at the money, the amounts. It was just look at the record. And at Pine Grove or whatever I was in, I did a record there. But $1 million in merchandise, and that's one guy. One guy. What do you think The Rock did?
Got him merch. It's a good question because he's not really come out with new T-shirts this run, has he? He seems to be.
I'm sure they got something out there. But a lot of people won't buy the heel stuff. A lot of them will. But see, Rock is what you call. He could be a heel really easily. But you have to have a baby face that is over more than him, and he hadn't really found that. I don't think Cody even fits that. But he is really, really over. The whole company is just red hot right now. Red hot. So, but them doing 72,000 people every night in Philadelphia. I mean, it was cold. It was like 50 degrees. That's cold.
Yeah, it was cold.
In a big windy stadium, it's cold. But they sat out there and they had these stories to see, and they damn sure were going to see them, and WWE damn sure gave it to them.
Now, you've said here, I'm actually looking at Dutch's notes for this match. You said The Undertaker was...
See, fans, it's not all James that does this show. I make notes myself.
I said this to you before. I was so pleased that you came up with the notes for this because I was dying. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. And then you sent me like 2 pages worth of notes, and I was like, oh, Dutch, you little diamond, you've saved me some time.
Diamond Dutch.
Yeah, hey, Diamond Dutch.
Name. That's a good name. So if anybody comes out with it, we can sue it because we used it here first.
Yes, that's right. You said, I mean, The Undertaker dong going off, the crowd went absolutely nuts. But you said if Steve Austin had come out. Have you heard any reason as to why Steve Austin wasn't there? Because as we said last week or the week before, there was like a John Cena and Steve Austin truck motif behind The Rock when The Rock was giving Cody Rhodes that beating out in the arena car park. But then Steve Austin doesn't show up, it's The Undertaker. But have you heard any reason as to why Austin wasn't there?
I haven't heard any reasons, but what I'm thinking, he was either tied up with something else or probably fishing, or they may not have offered him enough money. But if he'd have showed up, that would have been the coup de grace. I think that if he'd have showed up, the roof would have come off that stadium. Even more than Cena or Undertaker. I think if Stone Cold had showed up and you have that glass breaking and all of a sudden he's coming down there and, he's doing whatever he's doing, I think the roof would have come off. I also think that if Cody hadn't have won, they may have burnt that stadium down. I mean, and those people were ready for it. See, it's fun to watch things like that. The people will come. It's what an old-time booker told me one time. The people will come to see the good guy win. They will not come to see the bad guy win. And this was presented in such a way that they kind of telegraphed it that Cody was going over.
But that's the booking thing that you've always said. It's like, just slap me in the face with it and then give the people what they paid for.
And when you have a heel like Roman and you've gone for 3 years, 4 years with him, there's got to become, there has to come some point where he gets knocked off that mountain. And WrestleMania was the perfect time to knock him down the ramp, knock him off that mountain. And of course, it was like a good old time at the rodeo afterwards because the ring filled up. I read that Brody, the guy in AEW,
Brody Lee, yeah,
said his son was in there. Is that true?
I believe, yeah. So that makes 2 AEW contracted talents, or at least according to their roster page. The kid's called 0-1. It's sort of like a joke kind of thing, after his father died, and it was something nice for them to do. So 0-1 was in a WWE ring in the main event, or post-main event anyway, which I thought was funny. Also, Keith Lee was shown in the Hall of Fame on Friday as well.
And that describes to me that the regime and the atmosphere has changed.
I don't know, because they
You would
should have
never
let Dustin. They should have let Dustin Rhodes
Well,
go.
Dustin. Well, wait a minute. Why didn't Dustin come? I read a reason.
I think probably he was booked, but also, logistically they could have done it, but I just don't think Tony wanted to let him, and that is entirely Tony's prerogative. I mean, WWE have played AEW dirty many, many times, and vice versa, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, Dustin should have been there. That would have been good. But you don't see in WWE, you don't see a lot of people jumping in a ring and celebrating a victory for one of the guys. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when they was beating Cody's butt out by the truck, Rock was, I said, he must be the most hated man in the WWE dressing room, because nobody comes to help him. See, that was almost a go-to statement in like the old territories, because we'd always run some baby faces in there and get him off and get him off the guy he was beating up, because what's to stop them? They should go, and if they keep on, they possibly could kill him. I've seen some of those go on for like 10 minutes. And you say, come on, guys, give us a break. Make it at least just a little bit believable. If a guy's getting his ass whipped so bad, wouldn't you have some guys from the back or security or something help out? Well, forget security, because security can't do nothing with WWE wrestlers. They walk through them like they're water. They're nothing. But I think they did that right. And the only thing I can find to bitch about, but I'm gonna bitch about it, and then I'm gonna applaud it, is what is the ring announcer, the girl ring announcer's name?
Damn it, she's called Samantha something.
Samantha Irvin.
Yes.
She tried to make that announcement after Cody won. And I don't know if she knew the finish or not. Doesn't matter. But she was so caught up with the story that's been told to her. And it's a fairy tale. And they put the camera on her. When she was doing her announcement that Cody is the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, she broke up. She almost started crying, which is a testament to the guys in the ring and a testament to the way they told the story. It's a testament to everybody in WWE that had anything to do with this. I don't know what I'm doing out here applauding WWE so much, but they did it right. And this will be probably they say WrestleMania 17 was the other greatest
3,
WrestleMania.
Hogan Andre, 17, 30, you could argue, because I really enjoyed that with Daniel Bryan winning. But I think this was...
Oh, this was much better.
The ending was...
They told, hey, Daniel Bryan's story was very good. So now I hope, and I think Triple H knows, that you got to invest in stories. Matches, not so much. Because you can tell matches because they concentrate more on the entrance than the match. Mm-hmm. Some of those entrances, especially The Rock and Roman Reigns, hell, they take 5 minutes, 4 minutes. But that gets them over, because then they're not getting the same entrance time or say applause from the announcers that the other guys get, which clearly makes them like A1 material. So I really enjoyed it, but I think this will be the number one WrestleMania of all time. And going forward, they're going to compare, say, WrestleMania 41. they would compare that. Well, was it better than 40 or say 48? Well, was it better than 40? And they may have some good discussions with that possibility, because I think it's going to take a hell of a story and a build to beat this one we just saw.
17's in my heart, though. And the problem with the modern WrestleManias is, for me, is that it just takes so long in between matches. I mean, they could have condensed each of those nights down to 3 hours each, no problem. But they do drag things out too much.
They have commercials in these too, right?
They've got commercials, and then the entrances take forever, and it's like, come on, gang, let's...
Quit bitching.
Speed it up a bit. It's 8 hours.
Yeah, that is a complaint of mine. Please, let's get to it a little more. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, speed it up just a little bit, because I'm not interested in, and I know that's how they make money. I got it. But it's not making money for me. It's making money for them. And a lot of times I don't even pay attention to the commercials anyway. It's just like it's in the background somewhere and I might remember it. But, you know, some of the things they advertise, you know, they've already been advertised to death. What's a candy bar they do?
Slim Jim. It's that sort of processed meat stick.
Yeah. What kind of, don't they do a candy bar?
Oh, Snickers.
Snickers. And if I went into a store and I see Snickers, well, I know exactly what it is. It's not because WWE told me about it. It's because they harp on it so much, the Snickers. But it is a brand that I buy every now and then, not too much.
But companies do this on purpose. I mean, like someone like Coca-Cola or Budweiser or whatever. It's essentially vanity advertising. It's meant as a loss leader, but it's to be associated, to be seen with other giant products, to make them seem, as you say, top tier. But they probably will make a loss.
Explain that. Loss leader. What's that mean?
A loss leader is that you're going to lose money on a certain venture, but you sort of take the loss on the chin because it's worth it in other ways.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have to write that down. Wait a minute.
Well,
loss leader.